What's up, beautiful people? It is Hanifah Walida.
And it is Red Summer.
And you know who we is. We are your gay aunties.
Hey, babies.
Hey, darlings. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Happy holidays and all the good stuff, however you want to say it. Pray it,
Absolutely.
whatever.
Absolutely. I've been going to all of these winter break and holiday parties. I've been appreciative of how inclusive the language
Mhm.
has become.
Yeah. People aren't saying Merry Christmas so much anymore, which honestly, assalamu alaikum for. I'm glad. Good. Happy holidays. Y'all catching up.
All of it. All of it. Yes. And I'm very, very excited to be here today on Your Gay Aunties. For those of you all who are just joining us and don't really know what the show is about, just want to let you know that Your Gay Aunties is a weekly podcast that is centered around queer adulting. So if you want Auntie Red or Auntie Hanifah to answer questions that you have about life, love, or any other experiences that are going on in your good young gay life, then you can go ahead and holler at your gay aunties at yourgayaunties@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or on the Twitters, because we're on there now too, babies.
And
At
yes,
your gay aunties.
yes, we say the Twitters. And we'll keep saying the Twitters until kingdom come. Because it's all good. It's all good. Just so you guys know, this will technically be our last full show for 2019, so we can
For
bring
the
in
decade.
yeah, ooh, boy, another decade, boy. We should have a show just on that, how quickly decades go by once you reach a certain age. But what we are going to do, though, we are going to put a bonus episode up to bring you guys into 2020. If you haven't yet, go on our IG. I put a post up there regarding the impeachment because I wanted to see how you all felt about it, what it is to live through history, because your aunties lived through Clinton's impeachment and your aunties lived through Nixon's.
Right.
And some of your initial responses were interesting, was moving, and some of it took me aback because it hit me how much we need to have a civics lesson. Okay, so
And I saw this meme that like really said it like in
yeah.
my mind. It was like, yeah, people don't know about history because the history teacher is the gym coach, the football coach. And so we just want to, just bring back some of our experiences and the things that we know about living in this country as long as we have.
Exactly. And also one in particular thing is really knowing how to balance, just like there are checks and balances in the government, to find checks and balances with fear, love, and politics, and how to bring that into your life and how to formulate, or how to better perhaps formulate your thoughts and actions around it. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So that mini episode, as in mini, we ain't doing a whole hour on that, y'all, because there's the Googles. We're going to give you the jump off, but a civics lesson is at hand. So just look out for that on January 1st, and then we will be returning to you January 8th, officially.
Yes.
All right.
And so for this last show,
which is Sunday Brunch.
Yes.
Last Sunday Brunch of the year.
Yes. All of our Patreon supporters for the Sunday Brunch, you all are definitely in for a treat. And then everyone else on, what is that, Tuesday, Wednesday throughout the week, you all will already have heard about it, okay? Because everybody who is a Patreon subscriber for the Sunday Brunch will be letting you know about this show, okay? Because we have the one and only Dr. Lakara Foster in the studios, so to speak.
I love
it. And so if you are not familiar with Dr. Foster's work, she is a minister. She is a teacher. She is a good friend. And she is also a medium. And so I have had the wonderful honor of being able to just go through some of this life path as Dr. Foster has been fine tuning her gift, and she has a show on YouTube called The Gift. And she has been helping us to unwrap and unpack our gifts and use them. And so let's welcome Dr. Foster to the show.
Yay! Thank y'all for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You look like you were excited that was you. Like, that's me.
I know. That's like every time somebody reads my bio, I'm like, what? She did what? She did what?
Yes. So welcome.
Say word. So, we wanted, listen, we can never ever fit, the guests that we have on the shows have lived full lives and offer so much to the world. So we can never ever fit that in an hour, but but we would like to dive in for those who are not familiar with your work. Actually, me being one of them, how, one, explaining what you feel your work is and how you happen into it.
Awesome. So much as Red has mentioned, I am a medium and I am a minister. As far as the ministerial side is concerned, I'm a minister at the Vision Church of Atlanta. Love the work that I do. I am director of the women's ministry at the church, and I've been able to preach a Sunday sermon a time or two. And I absolutely love the work that I get to do on that side. I am also a medium or a psychic medium. And so a lot of times people want to know what that exactly means. And I tell people, I believe that all of us have some type of psychic intuition, of course, right? Whether or not we are tapped into it or if we use it is totally up to us. And for me, psychic is a very umbrella term. And there's a lot of different things that fall under that term, including the term medium. So I always tell people that all mediums are psychics, but all psychics are not mediums. My psychic side, for me, it really kind of allows me to tap into the energies of things that have happened, are happening, or will happen, right? And so some people call because they just have some questions and they just want to know. One question people always ask is, am I going to get married? I'm like, if you want to, I don't know, right? But seriously, that question comes up every single day. And the medium part, which a lot of people do call me for, it allows me to be able to connect to our departed loved ones. And what I tell people is that I don't talk to dead people because there's no such thing as dead. All we are energy. We're energy before we enter these bodies, while we're in them, and when we depart from them. And this gift just allows me to tap into that energy.
I'm glad that you explained it that way, because I think people do, when they say talking to the dead, that makes it feel, kind of ookie bookie, you know what I mean? Katookie dookie, booka booda booda booda. You know what I mean? No, because language is important. Yes. And some people can't get past that bar. If you're not into talking to your ancestors, or even not even formally, but just saying hello to mama if mama ain't dead. You know what I mean?
Right, absolutely.
If that's something that's not a part of your practice, you may not be open to the idea of trying to connect with or converse with or, have an experience, with a relative or a loved one beyond them being here in the physical.
Right. Yeah. And so one thing that was so powerful was I had an opportunity to attend the High Museum yesterday for Jazz at the High. It was amazing. And on the fourth floor, I think it's like the fourth floor, is the African exhibition. And it was so powerful, but so much of it, like the statues and the headdresses and all of these things, really talked about who we were as African people. And there were several statues that really addressed how it was just a regular practice, a regular thing for us to be able to connect to the beyond or connect to our loved ones in the beyond. And it's like, wow, like if we knew this, right? If we were taught this, if we, it would not seem so unfamiliar. It would not seem so scary. But of course, we know that our journey from Africa to America, if you will, stripped us of so much. But I would say anybody that gets an opportunity to check out the exhibit is absolutely should. You will learn a lot there.
Yeah. And not just our journey from Africa to America, but while in America, our journey from, well, we'll just say slavery for now, but into what we consider modernity. We have so much stimulus going around us. I mean, if we can imagine back in the days when we were just in Africa, if you will, and being open to the elements in a completely different way that we probably can't even imagine in 2019.
Right.
Absolutely.
Having that access.
Yeah, but even from a Christian perspective, I find it so interesting that there's been a lot of backlash from people who will say, "Wow, like you have the audacity to call yourself a minister and a medium, and what that means." And the some scripture says X, Y, Z, but really kind of take away from the fact that believe that Jesus was a medium, Jesus self, because it talks about Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration and talking to Abraham and Moses, and they were long gone. So what was this about? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Or even showing himself to Mary Magdalene, showing himself to the disciples as Jesus said that Jesus would. So they had to have been mediums to be able to receive this ancestor's energy and communicate with this ancestor. And so I don't believe that we are any different or that there is any different thing that's happening with most of us who even get the psychic intuition or have mediumship abilities.
Well, that's a really good way to handle that. Because that's true, I mean, most of religion has some sense of mysticism about it in its scriptures or what have you. We kind of overlook that because we're focusing on an individual or one entity or monotheism or what have you.
Right.
We kind of overlook the mysticism. Well, we're selective when we embrace
That's
the
selective,
mysticism.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think too, it's important to understand that a lot of the practices that African people had when they came here were demonized
Yes.
in the church intentionally, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we intentionally strip people of their powers, it strip people of all of the things that um, make them connected to something greater than where they are in the physical,
Yes.
then like I can control you. Like I can manipulate you. And
Yeah.
so a lot of that um is is looked at as, oh, that's demonic, that's blah blah blah, because white people don't want you to still do it.
Right, absolutely. And even when you look at the movie Harriet, which I thought was amazing, we see her tapping into this ability. And although they never called her psychic or called her whatever, I believe it's all one and the same, that she was able to
Yeah.
tap into this higher power or tap into this energy to be able to hear direction and hear next steps. And I believe that that's all it is. And so the movie gave us a really nice glimpse of watching our ancestors uh, be able to handle this ability and be able to use this ability. And of course, can you imagine? I mean, I'm sure the slave owners knew or had heard about or something as it relates to this, which is really why, probably more so than her even freeing people, was more probably so why they were like, no, we can't have this.
Right.
Do you think that being a medium? I kind of have a two-part question. Do you
Yeah.
think being a medium is something that I feel like I'm answering the question before I ask it, but we're talking in the context of our Africanness and our
You're right.
access to the spiritual realm, and
Hmm.
I say that because I truly believe that even in the way I feel that to dance is to be spiritual. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I was so when I was little, and I said this when I was little, I said I never want to be white. 'Cause if I can't dance, what do I do then? I mean, like. Because it meant so much to me. I couldn't even fathom. But
Right.
now as an adult, I understand that for me, dancing is such a spiritual thing. I couldn't imagine not being able to access that spirituality. So
Mm,
I'm curious, do you feel, because a lot of people proclaim to be mediums, there's a
right.
lot of falsehood out there and people, pulling scams and everything. And, but your blackness and your queerness. And I'm
Hmm.
bringing queerness in that as far as having access to a certain spiritual realm, because queer people, though this is not known
Right.
as much as it should, that if we'll take it back to Africa,
Mm-hmm.
queer people were a lot of times the mediums in the
Right.
community because they were
Right. Right.
seen as being able to access that yin and yang, that feminine, that masculine, all of that. So
Right.
I'm curious how you personally may feel, or even intellectually feel, that queerness and blackness, how that comes into play with accessing that spirituality, especially on the level that you do it.
Wow, that's a really good question. I think, much as what Dr. Black has taught us is in terms of our Africanness and queerness and how queer people were on the margins, like literally of the community, right?
I'm
Because
sorry,
they
who's
were the
Dr. Black?
gatekeepers.
I'm sorry, who's Dr. Black? Who's Dr. Black?
Dr. Black is a historian. He's a professor.
Okay.
Dr. Daniel Black, he's an author, an amazing author.
Amazing author.
He also teaches at Clark and
Right.
also at ITC, where I got my doctorate from. And so you look him up if you have not heard of him, you definitely need to look him up. And so he talks about us the queer people being on the margins of society, literally, because they were the gatekeepers, and they would be able to know what was happening and be able to channel what was happening, almost as if the enemy was coming, we would know way ahead of time to let the people know that the enemy was coming, right? And so I do believe, even from a Christian perspective, when we talk about in Genesis, when the scripture says, God says, "Let us make them in our image, and male and female He made them." That to me just speaks to queerness, period, so to speak. You know what I mean? Just and not even so much. Because I think a lot of people think about that in terms of physicality rather than energy, right? And I think it's exactly what you said. I think that it is about being able to harness and understand who we are as energy, right? More so than just sexuality, right? And I think that for me, I don't know. I probably have honestly, but like stopped using the term a long time ago. I just say I'm just spirit, really, right? Because I think that I've gotten into a space where I think that gender and sexuality and all of that's just an illusion, right? Because when you cross over into the other side, like that's not there, if that makes sense. Like spirit is not communicating the gender, the politics, the anything to me, if that makes sense.
Oh,
But I do think that you guys are like, yeah, right.
Mm.
And so I think that as far as my Africanness is concerned, um, that's really just kind of it's a DNA thing. It's a genetic thing. I think my father has the gift. I think my mother is tapping into her gift. There are people on my mother's side, my auntie El Day, who people would come from all over the country. She lives in this little teeny town, lived in this little teeny town called Mansur, Louisiana. People would come from all over the country to see her, right? And we didn't have internet and all that kind of stuff, whatever. So they would come and travel to see her, because she had this gift. And so I think, as far as my Africanness is concerned, I believe that it has been passed on from generation to generation. I think what's been also so amazing, is that I didn't grow up in the church, right? So the church, it was never like I never heard messages that being queer was wrong or being gay was wrong, or I never heard messages that you don't talk to dead people. So I didn't get any of those messages that people who grew up in the church may have gotten. And I think that it was so divinely strategic, because I believe that God was saying we're not going to have time to unpack this, to undo this, to unlearn this. So I'm not even going to take you down that route. So now, I joined the church, 10, 11 years ago. For me, I had already had a relationship with God where God loved me as me completely. So people who, had struggled with being gay, that was very foreign to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Who struggled with any type of gift, that was very foreign to me, because that's just not the struggle that I had. But I also think that God put me in these places so that other people could see you ain't got to struggle with that. Like it is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and really truly, like, even making people struggle or even putting that on people, I believe, um, has delayed so many people from operating in their gift. Which for me, your gift is the thing that gives you value in the world. And so if I can make you feel less valuable because of who you love, you ain't never gonna get to the part where you need to talk to the people on the other side or whatever it is, or dance or be an author
Mm-hmm.
or curate museums. You ain't never gonna get there because you're gonna stay struggling for years. So this is why this show is so powerful that you all are doing, talking to people who are young and queer, because they should get to the point where that don't even matter.
yeah.
Listen, that thing is so good that you just laid on these people. One, because like so much of the things that people are struggling with is not even their shit.
It's not.
Right? A lot of the weight that people carrying is not their weight. A lot of the conflicting beliefs that people are, battling with is not even what they believe.
Right,
But they were told that they should believe that. And even
right.
though it doesn't resonate with them, they're still battling with the I don't know, not even fear, but like the guilt of
Yeah.
not believing something that does not fit with their life.
And what's so powerful is like, so I have friends with children. I believe that so I don't have any physical children, right? But I believe that I have all of these spiritual children, and Red has carried some of them for me, right? And so and I tell their parents because that we know each other, right? Me and these children, we know each other, and so I'm telling their parents, oh yeah, your kid is going to be your kid is psychic, right? And my best friend Donnie, her niece is 5, and she has abilities. And I told them, like, when she's like, she's going to have these abilities. And sure enough, like at 5, I'm going like, so Lola, you got something for me? It's like something you want to tell me, right? And so I always tell the parents, like, leave them be. Leave them be. Let them be. Don't question what they're saying. Don't be scared of it, because they only gonna be scared of it if you scared of it, And the same with parents of queer children. And I love the fact that Dwayne Wade and his stance on his son or his daughter, because he's identifying as she now. So let me stand corrected on that. But he says, my only job is to love her. That's my only job. And so people are all up in arms about how this man is choosing to love his daughter. And my only thought is, you're so busy focused on what he's doing, you can't be operating in your gift.
Okay. I'm so glad you brought Dwayne Wade up, because I literally just posted something on your gay aunties about that, because that came across my timeline. I don't want to go in nobody's comment. I don't want to read those comments, because I know what they're going to, you know what I mean? But I did post it, in your gay aunties, because I was like, I almost, like, when I saw that article, I was lost for words. All I could do is really drop a tear. It's like, how different would many of us be? Yeah. Not just, because a lot of us, our parents got to the point of accepting us. I mean, that's like the best we can do, right? They got to the point of us, and then of course there's still some of us, our parents are acting a fool. But to think about having your parent or parents support you in such a crucial way at such a young age, from the giddy up, like that, like his daughter wouldn't even, like, how does she even see the world like that? We probably can't even imagine.
But the thing I believe that it boils down to is it goes so much deeper than that, right? Like, we have never, as children, right, and a lot of us as adults, we have never seen what free Black children look like.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Say it again. So for this child to be free, for this parent to say, oh, my child's gonna be free, we're not gonna even worry about that, we're not gonna have that. Like, we didn't, like, this is a new thing. And so I feel like I said, with my friends who have these children who are spiritually gifted, let them be free. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I just feel like my parents I'm like, I want to take dance. They were like, go ahead. I was like, I want to do gymnastics. They were like, fine. I was like, I want to play the piano. Like, they let me be free. Like, I know what it feels like and means, you know what I mean? And so even when I came out, I think a little bit was like, oh, like, we've never had that in the family before. But for them, like, it didn't, and Retta tell you, like, she's met my parents, like, it didn't take them long. Like, my mother is like an LGBT advocate. She is like, I want to fight for y'all to get married. I'm like,
hold up.
Married, right? Like, slow
down. Like, instead of reacting to the world with fear, because a lot of that comes from a fear for your child, advocate for them having the happiest life they can. That means you have to help in the changing of the world, not the changing of them.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. And I think too, like, for me, like, and I encourage people, like, I am going to be free. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, none of it matters. Like, and I think it might be because I have an advantage of knowing that, when this, like, to me, the whole purpose of the soul inhabiting these bodies, right, is to experience the fullness of what it means to be human. right? There's no
Mhm.
reason for the soul to come into this body other than to experience what it means to be human, right? And so I believe that God has created all of these amazing things, right? And has allowed us to create all of these amazing things. And why would we not want to experience the fullness of that? Because once this life is over, that is it.
Yeah.
That is,
Mhm.
understand, like you literally become a guardian, you become an ancestor, you become the one looking out for the ones who are on this side supposed to be experiencing life.
Yes.
Yeah.
With that, like I'm just gonna be free.
Oh, I love what you're saying because I think we limit the idea of what it is to be human.
Mm-hmm.
We have all our, our civilizationness and our rules and regulations because I think also as humans we like to feel in control, you
Yes.
know. But because we limited just the idea, I love that the connection of spirit inside of the human form, right?
Yes.
The spirit is endless, energy is endless, and the human form does have its limitations. At
Absolutely.
the
Yes.
very least time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the act or the exercise of being as full as you can within these limitations and their physical
Mm-hmm.
limitations,
Yeah.
is like that is even if whatever you don't acquire the money you want in the world or these material things, whatever, the experience or the exercise of being as fully human, giving your energy as much room to breathe as possible, and then
That's so good.
experiencing that as a human.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think it's like raising a child or raising our children, understanding that, then
Yeah.
there literally are no limits per se as far as what they would like to achieve or
Right.
be or experience.
Absolutely. And so for me, you guys, like the work that I do every single day, I get an opportunity because I always tell people that grief is a thief, right? And so when I
Wait,
meet
wait,
people,
time out. Grief is a thief.
grief is a thief,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
And grief,
That's going to be the name of this episode. Grief is a thief.
and so really for so many people that I meet, grief has stolen years of their life, right?
Mm.
Decades of their life, right? And I will connect with them for 30, 40 minutes and they will get free, right? When a loved one comes through to give them some closure, some peace, some clarity, whatever it is that they're needing, right? Because I always say I don't control the message, I don't control the messenger. So whatever it is that they're needing, and it is about them getting free, them getting unstuck. I truly believe that God has called me to do this work because there are people who are stuck and they cannot operate in their purpose and they cannot operate in their gift because grandmama died and grandfather died and auntie died. And when that happened, they just got stuck in 1994 and they ain't been able to move past 1994. And so God has sent me to say, you know what? I need you to give them this reading, connect with their loved ones so that they can get free, right? So I had a reading in New Orleans. I had a show in New Orleans. It was about, y'all, I kid y'all not, I think we had sold like 10 tickets, right? I was like, it's going to be what it's going to be because God said whether it's one person or 1,000 people, it don't even matter, right? Like, you still got to do the work. So I was like, I was like, Emma, I think we just sold like 10 tickets. The day of the show, 100 people showed up. Like literally 100 people showed up. Like, we were like, it was standing room only at this point. And
Wow.
so it was so interesting because, the whole point was I'm doing this live show. I'm connecting with people's loved ones. I'm giving them messages. And there were three women that were on the front row, right? And immediately when I walked in and I saw them, they were helping this lady in the kitchen get some things together. And I heard, and my mom's friend introduced them and she said, oh, all of these three, they're sisters. And then I heard, and I'm the fourth sister, right? So I said, oh, wow. So their fourth sister is present with us, right? Didn't say anything more about it. The show starts and everything. Y'all got three older Black women sitting on the front row like this right here. Mm-hmm. So what we about to do today? Talk to dead people. I don't even believe that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, God, why did you even send them? Like, why are they even here? Right? And so what happens, you guys, is even before I start reading, and this happens all the time. Like spirit will come to me, and so this is one. Well, this is my notebook, my main notebook. You guys see it says the gift on there, right? I'm taking notes like generally, all day long, and I'm like, okay, I don't know who this is, but I'll just kind of jot it down. So before the show, I wrote down, baby lost a baby, the number 3, and this baby had really kind of been following me around for like a couple of days, and I kept asking my team like, y'all, did anybody lose a baby? Like everywhere we go, I was like, did somebody lose a nobody had lost a baby. Okay, so take it back to the show. This woman is sitting there, and I asked them, I said, you guys lost a sister? They're like, yes. So I start giving them all the information that the sister's giving me, and they are like, they crying, the audience crying, I'm crying, right? And I asked the one lady, I said, how do you connect to the number 3? And this was after we had connected to the sister and everything. I said, there's a baby, and the baby wants me to connect to the number 3. So the lady says, I lost my daughter at 3 months. And I said, your sister wants you to know that the daughter is with her, right? And that she has the daughter and that everybody is fine. So this woman says, I have been grieving the loss of my child for 50 years.
Wow.
She says, in this moment, this is the first moment that I have ever found peace around the loss of my child. I'm not even 50. Meaning that this whole entire journey has been about me getting to this woman to set her free of 50 years worth of grief.
Wow. Wow.
And so I am like, if I'm not going to do this work, what am I going to do?
Yes.
What am I going to do if I'm not going to do this work? Of literally giving people. And the great part about it is, my background is in counseling. I have a degree in counseling. I've been a counselor. I've loved doing the work that I was able to do in that field. I am a minister. I love the work that I'm able to do in that field. But I tell people there are layers to this thing, right? And all of those are layers to heal. So even after I tell people, like, listen, I can give you a reading, and the reading will confirm for you that your loved ones are always present, right? Your husband is always here. Your wife will always be here. Like, and it'll be little details that they'll give me. Like one man, he was 85 years old, lost his wife. And I said, she tells me to write, and it'd be like the oddest of things, stuff like in my mind, I'd be like, I'm not about to say that. Right. And so they'd be like, no, right? Like, seriously. And I wrote down, I said, your wife, he's 85 years old. I said, she's telling me to write down PB&J, right? We know what PB&J is, right? He goes, I eat peanut butter and jelly every day. I don't know if it was a snack or something. He said, I eat peanut butter and jelly every day. That's something his wife would know. That's not something I would know about him, right?
Wow.
Every single day. Like, who eats peanut butter and jelly every single day?
Not I.
And so, like, they will give me like,
He's 85, so I might start eating a little peanut butter.
Exactly. And so it's all of these details that, these little details that they will bring up just around their loved ones that only them, like, I honestly wouldn't know. But it brings them peace. It brings them closure. It brings them this knowingness that even though my loved one isn't in the physical, they are still with me. Right. And they are still guiding me, and they are still protecting me.
All right, then. You know what? I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you, have you ever had a situation where the person is there and they people are like, I don't want to talk to her?
And I always tell people, so people will say, I thought my uncle was going to come through. And I'm like, well, it's not that your uncle don't love you. It's just that your uncle is not the one who had the message for you today. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And Red, you know what? I'm sorry, yo. I would like to believe that when one crosses over, all that petty shit go to the west side.
I'm glad yes. I say all the time, people will be like, well, are they still mad at me? And I'm like, no, like, the only emotion or the only thing that's there is unconditional love. That's the only thing. There's nothing else. It's just unconditional love.
Okay. Well, you know what? We're gonna jump into the getting free and the unconditional love after this quick break. I'm gonna put myself out there. and to see what happens.
I don't want like that. Listen, now I'm just gonna say like if a message come through for red or if a message come, okay, all right,
Okay, for sure. All right, well, we're both open, but we'll see what happens. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm open to the process. But let's just go to this break real quick. All right, y'all. Hey, all right. So it is the Patreon part of the episode. You know what I'm saying? So just want to remind you that we have 3 wonderful ways for you to support your gay aunties. If you just want to holler at us and throw us what you got on a one-time payoff, you know what I mean? You can send us some auntie love, just like Davin Samuel. Can we give it up to Davin Samuel? Or Davin, I'm not sure. But hey, Davin, okay. Thank you for supporting your gay aunties. You also, everybody out there, you also can support us 2 other ways. You can be a part of Sunday Brunch, which we're recording right now. And that means you get access to actually see us record your gay aunties with our wonderful Sunday Brunch guests. And you get it 3 days earlier than everyone else. All right. And then, of course, the third way to support your gay aunties, you can hit it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't doing this right. But anyway, so this is the second way with the Sunday Brunch. That's $10 a month, right? Okay, there we go. All right. So the third way, is the You People Rockumentary. If you want a free download of the full You People documentary, and also 3 episodes of Sunday Brunch, and of course that shout out that you get with the Auntie Love too. All of that stuff you get with the You People tier, and that is $20, a one-time $20 donation. So holla at us at patreon.com/your gay aunties. And again, thank you, Davin Samuel, for sending us some auntie love. All right, now back to the show. All right. So I'm going to let you lead, Lakara, because I'm not sure exactly how to go about it. I mean, I've had readings in the past. I've never sought out readings. They've always happened upon me. They've always been Black women. And they've come from different spiritual practices, right? So this is my first. Well, I'm not going to say that you're. Well, you know what? You just explained what your spirituality base is, but you are the first Christian identified Black woman to give me a reading, or to see what's red, see what's in the air. All right. So I'm gonna let you lead and do what you do.
Okay, well, we will certainly see what comes up. And so I'll kind of just, for your audience, to really just kind of explain my process. And we'll see what comes through. And so pretty much like I told you all, I don't have any control over who comes through. And so sometimes when people say, well, I'm coming to get a reading, I'm bringing my husband, and the husband get the entire reading. Okay, so it is what it is. I don't have any control, again, who comes through what the messages are. But I always say that spirit gives us not necessarily what we want to hear, but certainly what we need to hear. On this end, I showed you guys my notebook and my pen. Spirit communicates with me through signs and symbols. And I will tell you what they're giving me, explaining it to you, and it will make it make sense. So it's kind of like putting the pieces of the puzzle together, okay? But let me try to just tap in here. Because interestingly, even before you guys call, do you connect with an auntie that is on the other side?
No.
You don't connect with?
Yeah.
Okay. You connect with an auntie who's departed?
I do.
Okay. And I told you guys it could be for any one of you guys. Would this auntie have had something to do with like fashion or clothes or something?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, because she's showing me something like with something with clothing. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's give me a moment here. And any of you guys can jump in since your energy is here on the phone with me.
Yeah.
Actually, I might be thinking about the wrong auntie. I do have an aunt who recently passed who is a fashion plate, okay?
Are you serious? Like
Yeah.
Literally showing me like it's like all of these clothes. It's literally like she's twirling in these clothes, like almost like look at me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she was like the one that I like remember as a child looking to, like, she is a lady.
Wow. And I want to be like that when I grow up. And so what's so interesting is when they give me the balloons, I don't know if you guys can see this. This is the balloons with the tombstone. That is my tombstone there.
Okay.
That is connecting to kind of like recently passed or the anniversary of the passing. So you said that she just recently passed. Is she connected to your hometown?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. Which would she have identified as Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because she's showing me the Bible, right?
Okay.
Was she into the church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like overly so, but
Okay.
yeah.
Because she's showing me something, but it's and you. I mean, if you don't have the answers now, you can certainly find out. But it's something with a Bible, like, and I don't know if it's an inscribed Bible, this Bible has her name on it. You may want to just like maybe take the note and find out. But it's something with it's like my Bible, so to speak. Like I don't have like a my Bible. I got like the Bible app, like my Bible app, right? So like, but like back in the day, they would have like their Bibles like with their inscription on it. And so she's showing me that. Hanifah, I'm going to try to tap into your energy again, and I don't know who this is for. Okay, which of you has the grandmother that is passed?
Both of mine have.
Both of you are okay. The grandmothers, okay. Okay. Did your grandmother, Hanifah, did your grandmother have a connection to the South?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One I know a little bit more about than the other, but well, yeah. Okay.
And I don't know who this is for either because the grandmother is connecting me. They're making me write train. I just wrote down train. I don't know what that means. So for me, like, it could go. So sometimes it will give me something and then I have to make sense of it. So with the train, I'm almost seeing like, it's a train in terms of like almost like a MARTA or like an Amtrak, but it's something with like something that they're bringing me to. So I don't know if this would have been like some type of mode of transportation.
I mean, when I think of train and my grandmother's one grandmother, I mean, I honestly just think of a story that my father's mother told me about her relationship with the A train. I don't know about her relationship with the South though. That's more so my mother's mother. I know on her side of the family where, I know it, I can better track our family on my mother's side. But on my father's mother, that's the only connection I can make with a train was her relationship with the A, because she lived in Coney Island and she took it to Harlem all the time.
Okay, and this could be that grandmother coming through because this was like the mode of transportation, right? Like my grandmother didn't take the train. My grandmother would take the bus or she would walk. We didn't have trains. So that could certainly be that because they're literally saying this is like how they moved around. Okay.
Yeah.
Is your father still with us? Okay, so and that makes sense that the father is connecting to that story on the other side, that he would have told you this story about the grandmother, correct?
Actually, my grandmother, I met her just once, but she was a talker, and so she talked.
Okay. Okay. So they're making me write down 30. It's either, so I got down 3 and I got down the number 7, right? So for me, it's either going to be 37, 73, or they make me split it up. How do you guys connect to the 37 or the 73?
The 73. I'm not sure. I mean, I know my mom's mom died when she was in the 70s, but I can't remember what age. I said they both of them died in their 70s, but I'm not sure exactly what age. 37. I'm not sure.
It could, and you know what? It definitely could be 73 because they'll make me reverse it sometimes, but it's coming up under the tombstone. So I would want to know, like, if you could find out exactly like how old they were when they passed.
Okay.
That may connect to that because that's usually how they will give it to me.
Okay.
What questions do you have in regards to your ancestors?
Um, I'm curious to I'm actually more so curious about my father.
Okay.
Because he passed going on 3 years ago and change after a while.
Mm.
And
And that
our
could be my
relationship.
three as well. Go
hmm
ahead.
the I'm just wanted to I want to get a sense of his relationship to me. I know when you pass over, it's all love, but I'm curious, honestly, intellectually,
Right.
because I'm just curious to how he feels in
Okay.
regards, to me,
Okay. So
you know.
when they give me the wall, I need to that's I don't know if you can see that. That's just my little wall right there, right?
hmm
As you were talking about your father and the energy that's coming through. Um, the wall for me means that it's kind of like some unfinished business or tension or something that was unresolved in this life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
totally.
okay. So when they make me write down same, um, this is my can either like somebody had the same name, the same birthday, the same something. What is the same with as far as the father is concerned? Does somebody have his name? Does somebody share the same birthday month with him?
Okay, if that's anything, I know exactly what that is. That's not my father. That's my older brother Shahid, and his son, his youngest son, who was in the belly when he passed. His name Shahid.
Okay, okay. So the brother has
Mhm.
passed as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and this is your father's son?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then that makes sense. And this is pretty much how they introduce everybody. If they kind of like bringing people on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the your brother is connecting to the son with the same name. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Is my father's talking about, is he trying to refer to little Shahid? Or like, is
well,
he, I'm sorry, I don't want to, yeah.
that's okay. They're literally just kind of showing me who's all there right now, right?
Okay.
And so what'll happen is I'll start on something and they'll say, no, bring it back to this, right? So I was going to start on the wall and we're going to talk about the wall. But he wanted to bring up the same or the same. And so you made me understand that the brother was on the other side and acknowledging the son who's still here. How old is his son?
Shahid just turned 26.
Okay. Um, okay.
Jesus. Anyway, sorry.
um, so with the wall, and so he wants to clear some things up with you, right? Because when they have the wall, they sometimes come with instructions, and sometimes the wall, it doesn't necessarily, it could be you and somebody else beefing, so to speak, right? And they'll say, okay, the wall has to come down, or sometimes they'll say it is what it is, right? And so in this case, he is saying that he wants the wall that you imagine, so to speak, is there, right? Because it's no longer there, but you just need to understand that it's no longer there. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, were you feeling like there was a difference in terms of like, and this is the best way that I can explain it, right? Like treatment, or like my father treated me different, or my father treated these children different. Okay, and he's acknowledging that, right? Were there children of a different mother?
Yeah, yeah. So me and my brother have different mothers.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
hmm
so was he with their mother or with that mother?
Yeah, yeah. I mean that we have a lot of points of contention. But one of the ones growing up is that he made more of a family with my brother's mother.
Right, and that's what he's showing me, that he was with that mother or with that family or with that brother. Um,
hmm
and so this is what they make me understand, right? Is that so the scripture tells us, right? I can refer to the scripture, right? Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, "For I know the plan I have for you,"
hmm
right? Um, and nowhere in that plan does God say, "I'm gonna share that plan with you." Right. And if we could understand that our entire story is divine, our entire story is holy, our entire story is really created by God, right? So the fact that your father had created a family over here and wasn't as much of a family, all of that was a part of the design. right? But what happens in our humanness is we want everything to feel good, right? And the only reason that it doesn't feel good is because through the years, people have said that this is not what feels good, right? Um, and I'm not being insensitive in any way. Just understand that, I was doing this thing with my friend the other day, and we were talking about we're not going to judge anything today, right? We're not going to give anything a good, a bad. We're just going to be observers today, right? And it was really one of the most powerful experiments, right, for me, because it was like, wow, like if you don't assign something, an emotional value to it, like it literally doesn't impact you, right?
Yeah.
And so what has happened is you have assigned an emotional value to him not being here or being there versus understanding that it was really a part of your own divine plan or the divine plan that was created for you.
I really respect what you're saying, and it's interesting. My father, though he was a presence in my life, kind of peripherally and religiously.
Right.
One thing I remember, this one thing he said that I swear to God, is if there's anything I took from the Quran, it was this one saying.
Yeah. Right.
And Red will probably know what I'm talking about, where it says, you have your plan, God has his plan, and allows the best of all planners.
Mhm.
So that the fact that you extracted that psalm, I don't know if it's a psalm or if it's just a line in the Bible, I find that akin to the one line in the Quran that I've always kind of held close.
Right.
and that my father's the one who told me it.
Wow. And that was divinely, you understand, orchestrated, because I wouldn't know that line from the Quran, right? But I would know that line in Jeremiah 29:11, and that's the line he told me to say, right? Because he knew that you would understand that and understand that this is his presence coming through, to say, use this scripture because this scripture correlates with this scripture, and she would better understand that this was all a part of the plan. Right. And it's really for us, when I look at all of the things that I have gone through, I'm like, oh my God, I would never have thought that would have been used, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it, good, bad, or indifferent, the heartbreak, the heartache, the people who touch me inappropriately, all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. And I wouldn't trade any of it in if it meant that I couldn't be right where I am today. Not a single part of it. And so the wall for you is that he, what they come back and what they tell me, sometimes is that it was very complicated. Right. And that there were complications because, even though I am at the age where I am, right, I am still like, I still want to be my mother's child, right? So I want to be grown, right? But I still want to be my mother's child. And there are still things that I believe that it's like with spirit, it's like we're children and we're not going to understand it. And it's complicated. And because spirit has this whole entire view of the whole thing, it makes sense, right? On the spiritual level, right? But in our humanness, we wanted these things to feel good. And because they didn't, now we've put this wall up and we don't understand and we can't get past. And so he's offering you this closure today, to say that in our humanness, the situation was extremely complicated, right? But there is nothing but unconditional love. He's extremely proud of you, right? Did you communicate with your nephew recently?
Yeah.
Because that relationship is very important, right? Not only to your brother, but also to your father, that you have maintained that relationship and they're acknowledging. And so when I'm asking questions, it is because this is what they're telling me. They're telling me that you just recently talked to the nephew, and this is my way of confirming that that's what they're saying. Or does that make sense?
Yeah. Is he? I'm just curious if. I don't know if you can answer this directly, but the nephew is a linchpin with him, and particularly in the manner in which not he left us, but he was able to be present in both of our lives postpartum, and not the best way. And it's because of something he did when he was living in regards to my nephew and his relationship with me. So I'm curious, if he has any comment on that, if there's one to even have.
I don't know exactly what a linchpin is.
Or just he, my nephew, and myself. This wall may be a part of it. I'm not sure, but there's something that he communicated to my nephew that affected me and my nephew's relationship after he left.
Okay, and so this is why, and this is why they're acknowledging. They're glad that you are maintaining this relationship. Do you understand? That's why I asked you, you're still in communication with the nephew, you're still in relation with the nephew, and your answer is yes. And their way of, or his way of saying, it is good, because perhaps in his humanness, this was done. Right. But the fact that now that this is, he's on this other side, they can see, okay, that probably wasn't good, or that wasn't good, or that wasn't good. But again, it's just unconditional love. So the fact that even whatever it was said, whatever was done, did not impact the relationship between you and the nephew, because that is really what they're showing me, a very deep spiritual bond. Like, I don't know if like that is one of your children in the spirit, if that's how you feel about your nephew.
There's, my family is well, I won't go into that because that's a whole another conversation. But I love my family, but my nephew, he, I've always felt connected to he's the youngest nephew. I've always connected with him in a particular musical way. Things I observed when he was little, but also he has ADD. I have ADD. So there's a lot of things he'll do that I feel like I'm looking at me, and not for nothing. We're basically twins. If I was a dude.
They brought me back to that word same. Remember, I asked you, I was like, why are they making me write down same? And you brought up the nephew, right? As in, yes, the nephew has the same, because they'll, kind of circle back in these symbols and stuff. Yes, the nephew has the same name as the brother who passed, but also saying you and the nephew are one and the same. Right. And that sometimes I believe that we don't necessarily give birth to our nieces and nephews in the physical, right? But that, like, everybody says, like, my niece, right? They say, oh my gosh, she looks like you, she acts like you. I don't even know if that's a good thing sometimes, right? Because she is, I'd be like, right? And so they brought me back to that word same, right? Which is exactly what you just said.
Okay. This is affirming in a particular way. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm maybe, I know this is the best, like, good for radio or whatever, but it's
no, this is good. This is cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes. Well, we had a letter plan, but I don't know if that's gonna happen because we're rolling up.
Yeah.
All right. We're rolling up to the end of the hour. But as far as letters, you guys are really starting to write us letters, and we are so appreciating that. Absolutely. So we are going to have letters galore for you all come to 2020, which again is going to pop off. We're going to see you guys officially January 8th, and we're going to have a quick little bonus episode to prepare you for 2020. Prepare us all. January 1st, New Year's Day. So.
How are you feeling?
I'm in two places because I'm trying to also, manage the episode as well. So I probably wouldn't be as present if we were just doing this on one-on-one. But I appreciate the connection between my father, my brother, and my nephew, my youngest nephew, because I have a nephew and a niece, two nephews and a niece. And, I did a lot of work with my father passing because, I learned a lot about him postmortem that I didn't know when he was living. We had an estranged relationship because of my sexuality and because of his relationship with my sexuality, I should say.
Right.
And, and I learned that was more strained than I thought. And so I couldn't put on my altar for a long time. It took a while for me to develop a spiritual ancestral relationship with him, because there was just too much pain there. And he, had a very strong, very tight relationship with my youngest nephew. In many ways, I feel it was his son reborn. I felt that he kind of felt that, especially because Shaheed was in the womb when bigger Shaheed passed, right? And because of that, he put a burden on my nephew. I'm not going to say it gets in respect to my family, but he put a burden on my youngest nephew. And when he was really young, when he passed, he was like 21, that made our relationship really estranged for like 2 years. And we were able to come together and heal that. And I was able to, not for nothing, truly be his auntie. It's like, listen, daddy put something on you that he shouldn't have put on you. So you got to separate between your granddaddy and a man that made a fucking mistake. You know what I mean? It's like, so we've healed from that, but that I could not forgive my father for that. Right. It took a long time for me to forgive him. So I just wanted to kind of, honestly, this was a check-in.
Yeah.
Right.
Make sure he okay, make sure that, that the experience that he's having is a lot more welcoming and warm and more ease on his spirit than how he particularly the decisions that he made when he was living.
But
you know what I mean?
Just understand that we are mind, body, and soul, right?
Yeah.
And the soul is that's a whole different experience, right? The mind and the body, that's our ego. And we get in these bodies, much like you say, like there are things that we believe simply because we were taught to believe them, right? And so when the soul crosses over, you asked earlier, are they still doing the petty? It's no petty. It's nothing but unconditional love, which is why your father can come and say, you know what, there's a wall there, and I would like that wall to be gone, right? Because there's no wall on that side. Right. There's nothing but unconditional. There's not an acknowledgement of sexuality. There's not it's not that. It is literally, they see the soul in us. So the soul in them loves the soul in us.
I say. And so if people want to get in touch with you, Lakara, what's the best way to do that?
Yes. So people, if they want a reading, if they want to go to see some of the videos, if they want to see the testimonials, they can go to lakarawiththegift.com. I'm also on lakarawiththegift.com, Lakara, Lakara with the gift. On Instagram and on Facebook. And I'm going to hop on these Twitters, y'all. I'm telling y'all I'm going to get on these Twitters, okay?
Auntie's got to be on the Twitters too, okay?
Listen, we got interns now, and they really help and support us. I want to shout out to Latoya in particular. She really supports us with the Twitters. We was like, listen, you got to be babysitting them Twitters. That's like having a whole other child to have a Twitter account.
Develop relationships and stuff on Twitter.
Oh God, let's add one more thing to this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes.
We really appreciate you and just this is a great way to end out the year. And if you all are having some walls up in your own lives and some things that you need to start breaking down or working out, maybe you want some guidance on how to do that, you can send your gay aunties a letter at yourgayaunties@gmail.com. You can hit us on the Twitters. You can hit us on Instagram at yourgayaunties.com. Just let us know what's going on with you. Maybe you can let us know how you felt about the show today. Give us some feedback, some messages that you have for Dr. Foster or Hanifah from her reading and myself. We are here for you, okay? That's what Gay Aunties is here for. And we just thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great holiday and a happy new year. And with that, I am Red Summer.
And I am Hanifah Walida.
And we are your gay aunties.
Say word.
Wait, what I do?
No, that's all right. Let's do it one more time. I forgot to tell you, Lakara. We usually, when we have a guest, we say, yes. I'm Red, I'm Hanifah, and I'm Lakara, or however you want to say your name, and then we just say, someone says it. Okay. All right, so let's do it one time. We can edit.
Mm-hmm. And with that, I am Red Summer.
And I'm Hanifah Walida.
And I'm Dr. Lakara Foster.
And we are your gay
Your gay
aunties.
aunties. All right, babies. Much love, and Happy New Year.